Okay, so you guys have a better view. We're going to lie the roller down, and you want to lay the length of your spine on the roller. So I'm going to actually start. The easiest way to get on is to sit on the end of the roller and then walk your hands back to rest your head down. If you have a short roller, you want to at least get your head and your chest on the roller. At that point, you can place either books, pillows, or even just kind of hold your hips in a small hover as you rest down on the mat. So in this position with the roller behind your back, add a small tuck to your chin to lengthen the back of your neck. Allow your shoulders to drape open and feel the heaviness of your tailbone, rib cage, and skull on the roller behind you. I love starting this class in this way because it provides excellent feedback about the shape of our spine. So you can kind of feel, where is there more pressure? Do I feel unbalanced in this position? Maybe there's more body weight on one side than the other. Feel both of your feet grounded into the mat and slowly open up your arms out to the side. I want you to open them to the point where you feel a gentle stretch across your chest. This stretch shouldn't be sharp, it shouldn't be painful or pulling. It really should start off in a fairly gentle way. And it may be such that you can walk one hand higher than the other. Go ahead and find the position that feels most comfortable for both of your arms at this point. And once you have that set up, I want you to focus here on your breathing. We can breathe in multiple dimensions, one of which is up high in our shoulders. The other two are down low in our belly and wide out to the side in our rib cage. I want you to focus on your breath down low into your belly and your ribs. As you breathe in, take your inhale through your nose. And when you exhale, blow out through your mouth as though you're blowing out through a straw. Feel how that changes the position of your ribs. And if anything, it may start to give you a deeper stretch across your shoulders. We'll try that again. A big inhale, breath in through the nose. And an exhale, breath out, release. Try one more big breath here, taking an inhale in. And then an exhale, gentle breath out. Good. Now from here, we're going to take the tips of our fingers down to the floor next to us so that our arms are hovering, but our fingertips are down. Without moving the roller, start to march and lift your legs. Now, if you have a shorter roller, just bear with us for a moment. You can hang out in that stretch a little bit longer, as this one will be tricky to do with a shorter roller. As you're marching here, see how still you can keep your spine on the center of the roller. I encourage you to exhale as you lift your leg up so that you feel your spine stay nice and steady on the roller behind you. Good. If this is feeling especially easy, try lifting one hand and continuing, or perhaps lifting both hands, which is really tricky. I encourage you to go slow here. Feel the grounding and heaviness of your feet on the floor beneath you as you exhale and float one leg up and in at a time. Good. And you may find one side to be much harder than the other, and that's okay. This is a good place to notice and realize you may need to work on that side a little bit more. Last time here. Good. And then from this position, there's no graceful way to do this. We're just going to roll to the side, gently press yourself on up to a seated position, and turn your roller perpendicular to the length of your mat. So now if you have that shorter roller, this is all going to be the same. We're going to lie with our shoulder blades on the roller. So again, I think the easiest way is to sit in front of the roller, hands grab the roller behind you, lean back until the roller is just below your shoulder blades. And then you're going to walk your feet in and hold your head in your hands. Bring your elbows narrow in your peripheral vision and think of closing the space between your ribs and hips. Once you're in this position, imagine that you're using the roller behind you to press your rib cage down, like you're actually trying to pin the roller in place. Once you have that pressure, lift your hips up, and you're going to start to roll your spine along the roller from the very base of your neck down to just below the shoulder blades. As we roll here, we're not going to roll into the low back. We're actually going to focus this on the upper back, so along the length of where your rib cage falls. You may hear some clicking, cracking, popping as you do this, and that's totally normal. That may actually be a good sign that you're getting some mobility in the joints. Use this as well as an opportunity to assess, and you can think about your body. Is there one spot in particular that feels much tighter than the others? And if that's the case, you can go ahead and pause on that spot, place your bottom down, and actually allow your spine to drape over the shape of the roller behind you. Now, as you drape back, notice if your low back starts to arch. We're trying to focus this stretch to our upper back. So I want you to draw the ribs down, but drape the sternum back over. And that will actually give you a deeper stretch in your upper back. You can then go ahead and lift your hips back up, continue rolling, maybe even finding a new spot to pause, place your hips down, and drape back over the roller. Now, we can add on a few other dimensions here, and this may help to customize this rolling for your body. So first, we'll try adding side bending, and that's tipping your right elbow towards your right hip. And as you do so, that will open up the left side of your spine a little bit more. So as you're rolling back and forth, see if you can tip a little bit farther, drawing the right elbow down towards the right hip. Good. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing over to the left side, and you can compare that. Now bringing the left elbow down to the left hip, and that should start to deepen the stretch you feel on the right side. And maybe you say, well, you know, I felt a lot tighter on the left. You can go ahead and spend more time there. This doesn't have to be symmetrical. This is where you can really get into the spots that your body needs a little extra attention. We can also add rotation, and what that looks like is turning one elbow down towards the floor, the other elbow up towards the ceiling. That's going to get into our lat muscle, and the lat muscle is a shoulder muscle, but it has attachments all the way down to our low back. It's also an area that tends to be quite tight, as I'm sure you guys can feel. So go slow over that zone, but notice it. See if maybe one side is different than the other, if you need to spend more time in one of those areas. Good. Perhaps you're more comfortable rolling back through the center, especially if this is your first time doing the rolling, and that's okay. We'll spend just another moment here. Make sure that you are breathing. Since we're mobilizing our rib cage, breathing is ever so important to get a good quality stretch. We'll do one more roll. And then you can gently come on up to the seated position. Whew, that felt good. So now that we just did all of that mobility work for the upper back, we're going to take that into a little bit of strengthening. So we'll flip onto our stomachs. And if you have any discomfort to being on your stomach, you can actually mirror our movements in the all fours position here, okay? I will demonstrate though down on the stomach. So options, if you have shoulder sensitivity, are to place your hands on the roller with bent elbows. If you do not, you can place your hands on the roller with straight elbows. Feet are resting down on the floor. Your neck is long. Arms are reaching far out in front of you. Now, before we move, I want you to press down into the roller. So almost like you're trying to smush the roller into the floor. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and then start to pull to lift your spine on up, and then press to gently lower and melt the spine back down. Push your hands down into the roller, pull the roller back towards you, and then slowly, softly lower and melt back down. So this is a lovely stretch into extension being the opposite position of flexion, which is how we spend our time sitting. It's also a really nice strengthener for those lat muscles that we just worked. So a lot of times we find our muscles are tight when they're weak. And so one of the best ways to create long-term change for muscle mobility is to build strength in them. Good. If we're working with bent elbows, demo here, same thing. You're pushing and gently lowering, keeping that soft bend in the elbow as you lift your chest up and back down. We'll do 2 more here. And gently lower back down. Good, guys. Once more, pull back, lift, shine the heart forward. Softly, gently lower back down. And you can press yourself up and back, even keeping your hands on the roller if you'd like to take a shell stretch or child's pose. You can also choose to leave your hands down on the floor and allow your forehead to rest on the mat if that is more comfortable for your body here. Good. We'll take one more big breath in. And then we're going to come up, building into our abdominal strength a little bit more. So one thing we know that helps to support our spine, I think the first thing we all think of is our core. So we're going to challenge our core a little bit here with the roller behind our shoulder blade. So in that same way that we just did the rolling backwards, we're going to hold the roller and place it down. Now, almost every class, I get a question, why does the roller keep popping out from behind me? This is a great challenge to help you practice engaging the muscles in the front of your spine to press your rib cage back. So if your core is really active, that roller is not going anywhere behind you. You are pinning it down with your spine. So go ahead and give that a try here. Bring your elbows in your peripheral vision. Imagine pressing your back into the roller. Keep that pressure there and start to march and lift one knee up and in towards your chest at a time. Imagine like you are creating an imprint of your spine on the roller behind you. You want that imprint to be nice and steady. Now, if this is feeling easy or you feel pretty strong and stable here, you can lift both legs. Now, if immediately you felt your back arch, reset, think of closing the space between your ribs and hips. Bring the legs to the tabletop once again. See if you can hold that pressure backwards. This is tricky. Option to extend the leg, draw it back in. Exhale, pull back in. Exhale, reach, pull back in. Good. Press and reach and bend. Exhale, press and reach and bend. Option to go back to those marches here if that's a more comfortable option for you. Go for 4 and 3. Last 2. Last time, drop your feet down. And now take a nice stretch for the abdominals and drape the spine back over the roller. Take a big deep breath in here and a deep breath out. Release and gently come on up. Okay, so next we're going to get into a little bit of mobility work for our glutes. So our glutes have a very close relationship with our back because how our hips move are very closely related to how our back moves. We're going to take the roller underneath our hips and actually sit right on top of the roller. So we're going to do one side at a time. I'll do my left side first if you guys would like to follow along. So you're going to lower your left hand down to the floor and gently turn your body to the left. So most of my weight is down on my left hip. My right hip is actually slightly lifted. We're going to start here just rolling along the glute muscle. So when we're doing foam rolling, we want to target the muscles. We don't want to target bones or ligaments. This is designed to target muscles. So you want to feel that you're on the meaty part of the muscle. We do have 2 big bones, one right on the side of our hip, and then one kind of, we would call our sits bones that you sit right on top of. You want to be sensitive around those areas. Bones have what's called a bursa on top of them. A bursa is a fat pad that's designed to protect against friction. It's very sensitive to roll over. It doesn't like that very much. So you'll know it's not comfortable and it's not something you want to target. As you're rolling here, if you feel like, yeah, this is not enough pressure for me, you can take your right leg and cross it on top of your left to put more body weight on that side and then continue to roll. That might be far too much. You can keep both feet down if that's more comfortable for your body. Some people might feel more tightness in the center part of the glute, which is when you face up to the ceiling, whereas other people are going to feel it more on the lateral side part of the glute. And that's when you're turning to the left side. So play around with it and focus your energy where you need it. Different people are going to be tight in different zones. If you find a particularly tight spot, you can always pause on that spot and just hold the pressure for a few moments and then continue to go back to that rolling back and forth over that zone. So we'll just spend another moment here on the left side. We're aiming 1 to maybe 2 minutes at most each side, and then we're going to flip. So from here, I'll now place my right hand down. I'm going to roll and turn my body towards the right and then start to roll along my right side. And for me, I know this one is a little different than the left. I need to spend more time kind of in the center part. You may find that you need to spend more time on the side. So just slowly working through this zone. We have the sciatic nerve that exits our lumbar spine, and it runs right through the piriformis muscle, which is one of our glute muscles here. So you may feel tightness in that zone. If you're getting any sharp shooting pain down the leg, you may just want to change your angle, as that may be an indicator that you're putting a little too much pressure over the nerve itself. Good. And just allow your breath to be comfortable and natural here. Check in with your shoulder posture, draw your shoulder down away from the ear and keep the top of the head tall and lifted. We'll try twice more. And once more here. Good. Now we're going to take that roller out from underneath our hips, but we're also going to roll our hamstrings. So our hamstrings are the muscles that bend our knee. They're on the back of our thigh. So they play a connecting role with what our glutes do. So this time we'll start with both of our thigh bones on the roller, and then we're going to put our hands behind us about 6 to 8 inches and a little bit wider than hips width distance. If you're super uncomfortable on your wrist, I'll give you an option for modification in just a moment. But what we'll do is, keeping your knees softly bent, you're going to roll along the length of your thigh bone, and that goes right up to your pelvis and then down to just above your knee, and gently rolling back and forth, using the pressure and weight of your arms behind you to push away. Now you can do this on your forearms. I find it actually a lot harder, but if you have a lot of wrist sensitivity, this may be an option for you. If you want to put more pressure, you can cross one leg on top of the other and then continue that same rolling pattern. Okay, so you can play around and even see maybe there's one side that needs a lot more attention and energy compared to the other. Know that your hamstring is actually made up of 3 different small muscles that run across the width of the back of your thigh. So you can also slightly roll your legs out and in to feel the difference, and maybe notice if you need attention in one part of the muscle more than the other. I do recommend, especially if you have a history of sciatica, keeping a soft bend in the knee as you do this rolling. Good. That's it here, guys. We'll do just another moment or two, and I promise you we're giving our wrists a little break after this. And last time there. Good. Okay. So now we've got that tissue nice and warmed up. It's moving well. We're going to build some strength in that new mobility. So what we'll do is actually lie on our back. If you guys want to practice a little abdominal challenge, reach your arms forward, roll and melt your spine backwards, and then you can place the arches of the feet on top of the roller. So almost think like you're draping your foot over the roller. It should be fairly close to your bottom. So you want to bring it in almost close enough to be able to tap it with your fingertips. Now, before we move at all, I want you to actively push down into the roller. I know you guys can't see that. The roller doesn't move, it doesn't change, but I'm working pretty darn hard to press my feet down into the roller. This might be where you stay, especially if you feel like cramping in the back of your hamstring muscles. If you can, press your hands into the floor, go ahead and lift your hips into a bridge, and then gently, slowly lower back down. Your goal with this bridging exercise is to keep the roller underneath you totally still, which is really tricky. So move slowly. You may feel that the roller wants to scoot out and away from underneath you. Good. Pressing both hips up equally. Keep your collarbones tall and open, shoulders down away from the ears. If you need to take an option to place your feet down on the floor, that is available for you as well. We'll try 2 more. And gently, softly roll down. One more time here. And gently, softly melt down. Good. Now, again, a little abdominal challenge. You can walk the roller out and place your calves on top of the roller. Reach your arms long overhead and see if you can roll up to a seated position. So that one's a little bit tricky. Now we're gonna finish here rolling out our calves. So very similar to what we did for our hamstrings. We are gonna be up on our wrists with the option to modify on your forearm. So reach your hands back behind you. Now the roller is on the meaty part of our calves, and we're gonna roll from just below the knee to just above the ankle. Hands back behind you, push and open up your heart and chest, and start to roll down below the, just above the ankle and below the knee, back and forth. This one also doubles as quite a ab workout to hold your hips hovering. So if it feels like too much, place your bottom down. You can also roll along your calves by just bending your knees in this seated position. So that might be a better option for you here if it's too challenging to lift your hips and maintain that hover. Now, just like the hamstrings, you can cross one leg on top of the other. This is quite intense for me. This feels like too much. I keep both legs down and just gently roll the legs slightly outward and slightly inward to feel the difference between the calf muscle on the inside and outside part of the ankle. You can always also give your wrists a little break and then come right back to that same posture as you're rolling. Go ahead. And we'll do just another moment here. Now, I forget to mention here, the reason we're focusing on our calves when it comes to back pain is when we walk and we run, the first thing to hit the ground is our foot. And so our first opportunity to absorb any shock from the ground is down at our ankle. And so that requires really strong and pliable calf muscles. And so in order to help reduce the amount of load and impact that our spine experiences, we want our calves to be flexible and strong. And so that's what we're working on here. So we're going to take this into one final stretch in the all fours position. So this setup is a little bit funny. What we're going to do is actually take the roller to the left side of your mat, and then we'll set up an all fours position next to your roller. In the all fours setup, you're going to find your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. From here, you're going to take your right hand across your body under your left and place it on the roller. Okay, so I'm actually threading my hand under. I'll show you guys this view from the front in just a moment. Keeping a soft bend in my left elbow, I'm going to push the roller over to my left and come back up. So I'm pushing with my right hand, but twisting my spine to the left. Notice that I'm keeping my hips high. So it's kind of the way a dog might stretch their paws in the morning. Hips are lifted, chest drops down. From the front, so you guys can see here, my hand is crossed. I'm dipping down and gently rotating to twist my spine. Two more on this side. Once more here. Coming back through the center, all you have to do is switch your roller up and over to the other side, return to that all fours position, take your left hand on top of the roller, so it goes under your right with your palm flat down on the roller. I am actively pushing downward with my left hand, and then you can unlock the elbow, twist, and come back up, push down, press out, and come back up. Good. Push out, press, rotate, and gently lift. That's it. Try 3 more. Make sure your breath is comfortable and natural here. Press out for 2. And we'll try once more. Good. And gently come all the way up. I love that one. So that's a nice stretch into rotation for our back as well as for our lats on each side. So we did a lot of work there. So that concludes the movement-based part of our class. There is tons of stuff that we can do with the foam roller. We're really just grazing the surface, but I'd like